Oh.
That's what I hear.
So many people you don't. Yeah. Well. You get my points.
You bet.
You wait over there, Nick? Yeah. Seven o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting in order. You're all right. Roll call.
Jamie Melky.
Here.
Tom Graham.
Here.
Wendy Reed.
Here.
Bob Buckner.
Here.
And Kathy Mato.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Any comments on the agenda?
Good, what?
Comments on the agenda?
Approval of agenda section.
Oh.
And I just want to apologize. We have an AD person in here last week who is working, looking at our system. So the presentation part is not working, but Zoom and YouTube is working and they can see what's on our screen. Maybe.
Thank you.
Big citizen comments are up now. Next, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, my name's Joel Dykstra, my wife Martha, we're lifelong residents in northern Michigan. We live at 2455 Vester. We're at the end of where the transmission lines will be the last house affected by the new transmission lines that you're putting in. And the first that we became aware of it was when we heard chainsaws running on our property. And I went out and talked to them and they said that they were clearing out 80 foot of right of way on our property across 300 feet of frontage. Now we have two sets of power lines on our property. We have both distribution and transmission. So 80 foot, we were told that had to be cleared out. They marked it, they put all the stakes in, the stakes are still there. Then I said, don't we have any other alternatives? They said, well, you can move all the trees. So I says, well, give me a chance to at least get a quote on that. So I went down, saw it, got a quote on that. And then they came back and told me that I had to be out by August. have them all out by August. And I said, okay, whatever. So then we did some checking around and we called Victor and Victor came up. And that was after we had another guy on a property that we asked. And we asked him why he was there. And he says, well, we're burying all the lines right to your property line. And then they stopped and then we're going up and overhead and then right through the middle of the property. So Victor came up and Victor went through and explained everything to us. And he also explained that we had the option of getting our lines buried. And so I said, well, what would that take? It's cheaper than moving trees. And I thought, and then we've got an estimate for 300 feet of buried line of $67,000. Now, I sell my products to electrical distribution companies, so I know two of the top firms in the state. I had both of them come up and visit the property. They said with the offset of wire from going overhead, underground and everything, across that 300 feet, the top price that they could come up with the offsets and everything else would be $50 a foot, which put it at $15,000. Now in their quote, they got $15,480 for the boring. And then they got $33,000 for the wire. Well, like they said, they're taking the wire down off of the top. We're not paying for that. So they, at most, there should be a 20% upcharge for that. Then we got contingency of $8,000, engineering design of $5,000, construction inspection $3,000, bring it to $67,000. Now it seems to me in this whole project that you're doing, we're the only ones besides you guys that are writing checks for this. Now, I don't mind writing a check, but I want to be treated fairly. We're talking about extending 300 feet of extension line, not 360 feet as quoted, but 300 feet of line. Just keep it right on going another 300 feet. There shouldn't be any engineering. There shouldn't be any contingency. There shouldn't be any of that. And they're asking us to put up $67,000 to get our lines. And I would like some consideration from the city of Harbor Springs on that question. Somebody looking at it and saying, hey, this isn't right. And in the middle of the meetings too, we were already once by your electrical guy that said, hey, we don't have to do this at all. We can just come in and take out 80 foot of trees. Maybe that's true, but that's not the way to do business in Harbor Springs. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to address.
Put the speaker there. Turn that on.
You can turn it
But
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request greater than 3 minutes, maybe 7 to 8 minutes of time.
self-ask.
Good evening. My name is Ty Humper. I live at 582 East Main Street here in Harbor Springs. I'd first like to acknowledge my appreciation for the members of the City Council and the volunteers who serve on our Downtown Development Authority. We thank you for your hard work and dedication to Springs. I'm here tonight to share my thoughts on the DDA's decision to repaint our historic lampposts blue. I'm opposed to this decision and believe it's the wrong color choice. For the purposes of this feedback, I'll use the descriptor municipal assets to reference everything from large scale to small scale street lamps, city, clock, benches, trash cans, recycling bins, picnic tables, pipe railings, bike racks, and signage. I would respectfully ask that the City Council exert their authority today and stop the DDA's plan to paint the street lamps blue or any shade of blue for 3 key reasons. Number 1, current state of the mismatched downtown municipal assets. Number 2, consider historic preservation best practices for street lamp color selection. Number 3, request the City Council conduct a more comprehensive approach toward achieving a unified color aesthetic and orderly streetscape. Current state. I recently walked around Harbor Springs with a more critical eye, and I noticed more troubling concern. Beyond just painting our lampposts blue, there seems to be no coordinated approach toward a thoughtfully unified or cohesive connection of our municipal assets. I saw a beautiful new black bench with bronze plates honoring a family, presumably because they donated it. I saw new black bike racks and new trash bins, but I also noticed rusted trash bins, faded green benches, brown benches, and green city clock that is in desperate need of repair or repainting. And I certainly noticed the rust on our street lamps. so I support their repair and repainting. But we have multiple colors and no uniformity. We have an old faded burgundy sign near a new white wayfaring sign that already are showing deterioration and need repainting. On the other hand, our neighboring city of Petoskey exhibits a consistent dark green municipal asset strategy that, in my opinion, is far more sophisticated than our current situation in Harbor Springs. I've taken the liberty of providing you a photo tour of the current state of mismatched municipal assets here in Harbor Springs. I wish to submit that to Victor, and he can pass out the copies that I brought for the city council. Again, you will notice multiple colorways, benches, picnic tables, trash cans, and rusting, worn, faded, and in poor condition. Signage is not consistent, and wood posts are often rotting away or require staining, repainting, or replacement entirely. It troubles me to say this, but upon closer observation, Harbor Springs is showing signs of wear that require attention. Simply painting our lamppost blue avoids responding to a bigger challenge that our city faces. And I'd like you to consider historic best practices. After researching findings from other cities and the National Trust for Historic Preservation, an advocacy group, an educational body, not a regulatory group, I've found best practices, toolkits, case studies showing that light fixtures in historic districts should use traditional, subdued finishes that blend into the streetscape. I discovered a simple street lamp and bench color evaluation guide that summarizes key considerations when selecting colors for municipal assets. The guide discusses 5 key evaluation factors, and they are historic alignment, aesthetic appeal, practicality, brand fit, and community support. I've taken the liberty of providing copies here for your consideration entitled Street Lamp Color Guide. The street lamp color guide suggests that gloss black or dark green provide the most timeless, durable, and community-supported option for street lamp and benches. While I feel strongly that gloss black is ideal for Harbor Springs, dark green could also be a viable and better choice over blue. As evidenced in the photos of our current state, we have much work ahead. And we have a great opportunity here to enhance our beloved Harbor Springs for generations to come. If the DDA plan to paint the street lamps blue is allowed to go forward, I believe we will forfeit this opportunity. I urge the City Council to take a more comprehensive approach toward achieving a unified aesthetic and orderly streetscape. With this in mind, I submit to you a sample structured plan for determining the appropriate color of municipal street lamp posts and their other municipal assets for a small historic town such as Harbor Springs. It balances heritage, preservation, community input, and practical maintenance. Again, I would prefer that our street lamps and all other municipal assets be painted gloss black. This is not just a personal preference, it is practical. Most vendors who sell municipalities these type of objects offer products such as benches, trash cans, and recycling bins in black or dark green, not blue. Utilizing black would result in a timeless approach, as black complements nearly any architectural style. It promotes historical precedent. In the 19th and early 20th century, cast iron street lamps were commonly painted black, creating a traditional look that many municipalities continue to replicate today. Gloss black is durable, and its appearance in black tends to weather well and hide dirt or uneven fading better than lighter colors. Black is both elegant and formal. It provides a sense of sophistication and uniformity in civic design. And finally, it is maintenance friendly. Black paint is widely available, easily to match for ongoing touch-ups, and less likely to appear dated and then trend-driven colors such as blue. And I might add, blue tends to fade and would be difficult to touch up over time. In closing, I thank you for the opportunity to share my opinions on this matter. I truly do appreciate the time and dedication of all members of the City Council and all volunteers and members of the DDA, because they give a lot to our city. But before any next steps are finalized or implemented, I urge the City Council to exert their authority and change the course of the DDA's decision to paint the street lamps blue. in lieu of any shade. And I encourage everyone in this room to wander around our city and look closely at the current state of our municipal assets. Let us put our time and resources toward a more comprehensive approach. Let us achieve a unified aesthetic and orderly streetscape that is timeless, not trendy. Thank you for your time.
I have a sample of said blue, which I'm going to show everyone. This is the color. It is not a color of Florida or whatever. It's a very slate blue. And so I just have a quick letter to read here, not as formal as ties by any means. I did a survey. First of all, I want to thank you all for your time, because I know, being a volunteer myself, we spend a lot of time and we hear a lot of pros and cons about everything. So thank you. I've been,
Can you say your name?
oh, I'm sorry, I'm Margaret Tweeden. And I have a business in town, and I have lived in Harbor Springs for about 44 years. I am on the DDA, and we worked on a lamppost painting ideas for over a year. The color that we came up with is in harmony with the wayfinding signs. The color we came up with is to kind of accent that we live on a lake. Our name is Harbor Springs for the water that we are around. Everything else in town is eventually going to be black. So this was going to be an accent color. I want to say that I conducted a survey about Harbor Blue versus Urban Black for all the Central Business District lampposts. When I began the survey, when I was painting the actual lamppost, which is kitty corner from the post office, and I would encourage everyone to go and look at it. It came from unsolicited comments, starting from people just walking by or driving by who actually opened their windows up or came over and said, "What a beautiful color, I love that color." So that was part of the survey. And then I did a online through social media survey and an in-person survey at my business. For about a week, I asked everyone who came in their opinion of the color of this blue versus a black. And so I got up to about 125 people that I actually talked to or went on social media. And without any other, one person out of 125 people said they didn't like blue. These are some of the things that the people did say about this blue. Gorgeous, great, highly endorsed, love the Harbor Blue, love, beautiful, thumbs up, perfect, subtle and elegant, charming and distinctive. Black is okay, this blue is better, classic and classy, so Harbor Springs, welcoming and unique, beautiful, love the blue, it's a special blue, a stately blue, very rich, soothing blue, love the lake, love the blue, love it, beautiful, gorgeous. The color of our beautiful lake, stunning, love the blue, gorgeous, thumbs up, thank you DDA, the color is perfect, loving Harbor Blue, beautiful choice, great idea, great color. Blue is a lovely neutral color, I love the blue, it looks beautiful. That's really all I have to say. I've asked a lot of people, everyone's got an opinion, you know this. I've run a gallery here for 30 years and downstate for many. I know one thing for sure, color is very personal. And I know there's certain people in this room that feel very strongly that it should be black. I think black is an urban color and it doesn't really have anything to do with our town. And that's why I brought this sample, because some of the people that wrote letters talked about this bright blue. That is not a bright blue. That is a slate blue. Anyway, I have to go. I only wanted to come to say that and share my feelings. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Yes.
Lisa Nickel, 638 West Bluff Drive, registered city voter. Good evening. City council members, I was appalled and offended as I listened to the August 18th city council meeting and heard Councilperson Reeves referred to the tree board members as tree Nazis. Previously, at the August 4th city council meeting, Councilperson Reeves stated that anyone who was on the no side of the zoning code issue should not be considered for the vacant council seat. Number one, that was not a criteria for the position. And number two, how did she know how people voted on that issue? City council members, you represent the city voters of Harbor Springs, no matter how they vote on an issue. These meetings are not your personal platform for presenting your own agenda, your religious beliefs, or your political views. At the last city council meeting, Councilperson Reeves felt it was okay to compare the members of the tree board to one of the most heinous and inhumane groups from history, the Nazis. City council members, these kinds of personal attacks are not acceptable conduct for an elected public official. The tree board members and all the board and commission members are volunteers. They are people who work, live, shop, play, and vote in Harbor Springs. They give up their time and their energy to represent us. City council, these are the people you have pledged to represent. At the city council meeting, when Councilperson Reeves claimed to know how the candidates voted in regards to the zoning code, I did not call her out. I should have. Instead, I left the meeting feeling mad and disappointed. I couldn't listen anymore. This time, Councilperson Reeves needs to be held accountable. She was way out of line with her personal attack on the tree board members. Her remark was ignorant, it was hurtful, it was totally untrue, and it was unsubstantiated. Our mayor is on the tree board. Is she calling him a Nazi? Councilperson Reeves needs to apologize to all the tree board members publicly. Councilperson Reeves needs to apologize to all of us, her constituents, for her offensive remark. City council members, you represent all the city's registered voters, not just the individuals who support your personal agendas. Councilperson Reeves, if you cannot do that, then you need to step down. City council members, please look at your roles and responsibilities. It is your job to represent all the voting residents of Harbor Springs and to thrive to make Harbor Springs a better place for us to live. I never want to hear a comment like that again from anyone on the city council. Thank you.
Renee, please speak.
Yes, back.
Can I just walk to the podium?
Yes.
You can make it.
After that, Mayor, we do have someone online, so.
Put my glasses on because I can't see anymore. My name is Israel Hernandez. Thank you for your time. I've also been in government. I have also volunteered. I know how much it takes of people's time. I'm also a business owner and I'm also a full-time resident of Harbor Springs. I have this letter that I've submitted to you by email. I'd like to read it out to everyone, please. And it has to do with the town light post. All right. To the members of the town council, I am writing to respectfully request reconsideration of the decision to paint the town lights post blue. While I recognize and appreciate the intent to invest in the improvement of our streetscape, this change warrants further evaluation to ensure it aligns with both our community's long-term interest and its historic character. I also think it's essential that residents feel confident that all financial costs associated with this project has been carefully reviewed. As stewards of taxpayers' dollars, we must be assured that we have a realistic cost assessment paired with a comprehensive strategy to help ensure taxpayers' money is used for improvements that endure and not short-term quick fixes. Although this initiative was first mentioned in January, the specific color was not shared publicly till this month. For a decision that directly impacts this town's visual identity, such a delay in communication undermines the confidence in the process. A brief pause to allow for broader public engagement
would strengthen the credibility and demonstrate a genuine commitment to community input. Why the rush to paint it blue this month? Why blue? Without any clear foundation, explanation, or connection to a broader master plan, the decision risks appearing more like a personal preference than a thoughtful strategic design for our town. Our town's enduring appeal rests in its authenticity and timeless charm. Introducing blue light posts introduces something that can be time-bound, inconsistent with the heritage of Harbor Springs. Walk through downtown like I did, and you'll see benches, trash bins, pot planters that are in already different colors: black, dark green, gray, beige. Rather than adding a fifth color to our town, to this patchwork that's already in our community, now is the time, an ideal opportunity to establish a coordinated long-term design standard. Other communities succeed in doing this. Nantucket, also by the water, uses matte black. It's not an urban color. Okay, Mackinac Island, we know full well, highly successful, visited by many tourists. But guess what they use? Matte black. Charleston, South Carolina, also a town by the water. They use a dark green. Petoskey, that we know very well, also uses a dark green. Key West, who I think, is not at all like Harbor Springs, uses a bronze color because of the animals. They did 3 years of research before they chose a color. I don't hear of any research that was done, either scientific, marine, or anything to create a master plan. These carefully chosen cohesive styles reinforce a sense of place that is both distinctive and enduring. Our town shines already through its vibrant Main Street, stunning water views, historic buildings, beloved theater, thriving newspaper, library, historical center, celebrated book festival. This is our genuine strength. Blue light posts risk distracting from them by appearing contrived rather than strategic or well thought out. We need a cohesive long-term design standard, not the addition of a fifth color to our infrastructure. At the same time, we should consider enhancements that elevate our identity, such as a downward-facing dark sky compliant fixtures. Communities like Nantucket and Santa Fe have adopted such measures to preserve their natural beauty while allowing residents and visitors to enjoy the night sky. Thoughtful choices like these would only strengthen our town's character, but also distinguish it in a meaningful way. Beyond aesthetics, painted metal fixtures require ongoing maintenance. Fading, chipping, weathering will drain resources for years to come. More pressing, many of our light posts are already rusted and in need of structural repair before cosmetic updates are even made. Addressing those concerns first will save money and ensure the long-term integrity of our streetscape. The current budget for this project is insufficient to both restore and paint the posts to a durable standard. What's needed is a realistic estimate and a comprehensive plan that ensures taxpayers' dollars are directed towards lasting improvements, not short-term solutions. If we paint these light fixtures and there is rust 6 months from now, we're gonna have to repaint them again. And the budget that's given to this project does not support the cost that it would take to do fundamental structural repair for these posts. For these reasons, I respectfully urge the council to pause the implementation and invite broader engagement. Our goal should be a streetscape that reflects who truly are as a town, defined by its authenticity, our natural beauty, and shared pride in our history. By prioritizing durability, cohesion, and enhancements, like a coordinated design plan and night sky protection, we can create improvements and for future generations can come to celebrate and enjoy. Thank you for your service and your dedication to preserving the unique character of our town. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, everybody, Jen and Mulder. I have comments too about the land post, and I'd like to echo everything that Ty and Israel has said. I think they made great points. I'd like to go one step further and urge that council and DDA consider hiring a design professional to help with the master plan for the vision for downtown. I feel like we're kind of attacking things piecemeal with the pots and on the corners, and now with blue lamppost color. And a master plan would actually help pull all those pieces together, all the key components, and end up with something that, you know, looks cohesive and is timeless, rather than doing things one at a time. And I would urge that council take this up as a discussion item. And in the meantime, ask that the DDA please put things on hold. I also have another comment about the tree Nazi comment from the last meeting. Again, everybody has already said it was highly offensive. We have three tree board members tonight, and Wendy, it would go a long ways to have you apologize for those comments. And also to retract your statement that we tell people what they can do with trees on their property. We have never done that. And we have discussions at tree board every other meeting that we do not want to get in the business of telling people what they can do on their own property. I would also urge council to consider taking up the matter. If this was in the private sector, HR would have been called, there would have been consequences. So I would like to know, council, if you're going to do anything about this or just let it stand. Thank you very much.
Yes, Chief.
Thank you. Not talking about light posts or anything like that. I got a couple of things to talk about tonight. First of all, with the election coming up, I see some political signs coming out, and I do this time of year. Just to remind everybody, if you put signs out, they have to be 8 feet from the edge of the road. And if they're the sidewalk, they have to be on the opposite side of the sidewalk. So just a reminder for everybody. There's some areas in towns where the sidewalk, let's say, is 12 feet. It is okay to put it between the sidewalk and the roadway. Just make sure that they're 8 feet from the edge of the road. So that's one part of it. The other thing is one of our officers, I would say, was on a roll like a batting streak of batting 1,000 for the last month. And we don't do a lot of awards, and he's not getting an award, but I want to publicly recognize Officer Nick Strobel. You come up here. So this is what Nick has done in the last, let's say 3 to 4 weeks. 3 weeks ago, we got called down, Nick and I did, down to Gurney's for a man with a gun. I don't know if you heard about that or not, but Nick was able to locate the individual behind Gurney's. It wasn't a gun, it was just a mistaken for what was like a earbud charger. Nick did that. Last week, I was on a cruise, get a call from Nick that we had a report of an individual riding a bicycle on Harrison Street with a long gun that had wood stock on it. I'm talking to Nick from somewhere in Alaska, and we're talking about it, and he's like, Chief, he said, there's this guy that lives up on Fairview Street, and it might be him because he does a lot of yard work. He said, I'm gonna go up there and talk to him. So Nick drives up there, talks to the individual. In the meantime, the school's shelter in place because we don't know, this is the day after the shooting out in Utah. We don't know what's going on. Nick had the foresight, goes up there, talks to the individual. The individual had just purchased a BB gun and was riding home on his bicycle with that BB gun. So I called Scott, the superintendent, said, we're all set. I thank God for the citizen who called it, and it was legit, but we were able to squash that because it is good work. Just yesterday, extortion call up on Bluff Drive. Individuals got called from, like a lot of people do, wanted money, or they were going to do ill things to their family. Nick, we have a resource that we use called TLO. You TLO the numbers, wasn't able to come up with anything, but there was a PayPal, or excuse me, an Apple Pay account. He was able to obtain the individual who made this threat down in Dearborn, and we were able to locate this individual. So this was yesterday. And the most significant thing was 9/4. Nick was called down to the post office for somebody who had a heart attack, unresponsive. Nick responds down there, first guy in the scene, attaches a pad. This is a week after this post office employee was, his son got married, and does CPR on him with the pads and revives him. And the guy's talking before he leaves the scene. So Officer Nick Strobel here. Licensing awards for us because that's part of our job. If it was a citizen, we would have, but Nick has hit it out of the park this last month, and just for me to pat him on the back at work is not good enough. And then the fact that his lovely wife Claire's here, and they have a 7-month-old and a 1.5-year-old at home that Nick's done a phenomenal job for the department. So I just want to give him kudos, and I just want to say thank you in public for it. He's a young officer that worked for the tribe. I think I brought him to help me when he first started, correct? Yeah. And but he wanted to come and work here. And it's a tribute to Harbor Springs, and we're blessed to have, he's 29, right?
Yep.
29 years old, and he wants to work here, and that's the type of officer that makes our police department what it is. So I just want to say thanks, Nick, and thank all of you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Mayor, you have a couple more hands.
Would you like it to wait or do you want it to?
Go ahead, man, you're there.
Eva Oldman and I wanted to come and introduce ourselves to everyone. My name is Renee Wemigwas, and I've been, other than when I was in college, I'm a lifelong resident of Harbor Springs, and both of our families have been here for generations. On August 21st of this year, we were elected as the tribal chairman and vice chairman for the Little Traverse Bay Bands Wadau Indians. And one of our first big events that we're planning right now is our annual Sovereignty Day celebration. Eva's mom, Shirley Naganash Oldman, was instrumental in getting our Sovereignty Day celebration started many, many years ago. What we celebrate on that day is the date that our public law 103-324 was passed in Congress, which reaffirmed our government to government relationship with the federal government. So it's kind of like our version of 4th of July. So one thing that Eva and I really wanted to do was to create more opportunities for the tribe and our local municipalities to work together. So we were really excited to propose to Mayor Graham and some other folks that we hold our annual small parade that we have on Sovereignty Day down Main Street of Harbor Springs. As many people know, Harbor Springs over the years, for generations, has been known as the capital of the Odawa people or Ottawa people. So we thought it was very appropriate for us to ask to see if that could happen this year. And so we're really looking forward to that opportunity. It will be occurring on Sunday. The parade time is at 11. I think we have a whopping 7 entries right now. So it's going to be a quick one, but we plan to have all of our entries line up at the corner of Judd and 3rd Street, and we're going to go west down Main Street and then end at Zorn Park. And then following that, the public is welcome as well. We typically have a gathering out at our Osborne Road property, which is north of Harbor Springs. And that is a powwow that we usually have. So there's dancers, there will be vendors and other community activities going on for children. So we just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce ourselves and hopefully find other avenues where we all work together. Thank you.
I'm Margie Smith at the building on Bay Street, and I've lost my voice. So I've asked Karen Lopez, who is the gallery in my building, to speak for me. Thank you.
So like Margie said, my name is Karen Rolfes. I'm a tenant in Margie's building, which is right across the street from the park. And this is from her. I would like to express concerns regarding recent activities on the Merchants Walkway, which is a walkway that joins East Bay up to Main Street, which is adjacent to my personal property. I have prior experience working with the DDA in this area, and unfortunately, I have found the process to be lacking in effective communication and collaboration with tax-paying property owners. Specifically, I would like to address the following issues. The lampposts. I strongly encourage continuity in design. Please keep the lampposts simple and consistent in style. And I recommend the color black for uniformity and aesthetic appeal. Number 2, unauthorized installations, bench, and a flower pot had been placed on my private property without my consent. This is unacceptable, and I request that these items be removed immediately. Number 3, lack of water source. I understand there is currently no available water source for maintaining any plants in this area. This raises further concerns about the sustainability and maintenance of any installations. Number 4, lack of communication and consent. I have had minimal contact with Director Becky Goodman regarding this matter. Going forward, there needs to be a clear and transparent process where property owners are consulted and required to sign off before any work is done on or adjacent to their personal property. I appreciate your prompt attention to these matters and look forward to your cooperation in resolving them. Marcia Smith.
Thank you, Margie. May the board have any comments?
So
One more.
we got one more on Zoom too.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm said that Becky Goodman, DDA Director. I did not expect that, tonight. I've talked with Marjorie and I intend to give her more information as we move forward. We have been in contact, so I'm not gonna leave you out there. Talked about hydrangeas, I'm in your court. So, I did think I would take a few minutes of your time tonight to talk about the process that the DDA used on this plan that came up with the blue lampposts. And I'm here for any questions that you may have as well, as our staff person. So in the fall of 24, the enhancement committee began working on this project they call the Unification Beautification Project. Also in that fall, the DDA board included this project in its proposed 2024 budget, and that budget was approved unanimously by the DDA. In December, the DDA budget, which included this project, was approved by City Council. So we're transparent all the way and we're getting approval as we go. In January of 25, the enhancement committee unanimously determined at their meeting that they were going to recommend to the DDA board this project. And the plan included the painting of the lampposts, the deep blue slate color that's specified in the city marketing plan for downtown. It also included the flower pots in granite colors and bike racks and trash cans. Granite and black are also included in the city marketing plan colors. The committee believed that the lampposts are beautiful enough that they deserve to be accented at least to some degree with the deep slate blue. Now, some trash cans were used on the streets this summer out of necessity because of the amount of trash generated. These cans have been removed now and they will not be used again. Black will be put out. All of the street furnishings that you see out there now are bus black, bike racks were purchased this year, and the trash cans. There'll be no mishmash of color going forward. That's the goal of the committee and the DDA to work on that and make sure that we're not seeing that anymore. Also, in January of 25, the DDA board approved the details of the plan of the project unanimously. There was a slide in their presentation that they saw that explained the color choice, and also a slide that was photoshopped with lamp posts. There were 3 or 4 different pictures there. They were photoshopped all this deep slate blue color. That project was approved unanimously. I remember board member Tweeden that you heard from earlier tonight, who was a little, I'm going to tell you, humble about her qualifications. She is a renowned artist. She has taken color therapy classes and done consulting over the years. She understands how colors are made and the chemistry of them. So she said one of the comments made at that meeting, or actually the only comment made at that meeting, was that the town is using green and or black and the slate blue. Almost every town is using green and or black and the slate blue. That's our unique little waterfront resort town and will look nice in summer and also in winter sky. No other comments were made on the lamppost color at that meeting. At the April City Council meeting, I appeared and gave a presentation at the invitation of council on the entire project. Presentation includes a slide detailing the color concepts and how they were arrived at, and also the Photoshop deep slate blue lamppost. No comments were received from council or the public about the color, although there were comments made that night about the Merchants Walkway. Since then, it's been the downtown newsletters that go to the business community 3 times. It's been in the city newsletters that Victor puts on the website in August and January. And we now have a signed contract that we need to honor. Contractor is scheduled to begin this week so that he can be completed by the end of October as his contract states. Delay could leave us with an unfinished project over the winter months and in violation of our contract. I just felt it was important that you all know that the DDA is following process and they are transparent. Now, while I was sitting there, I made some extra notes because of the previous speakers. This should go quickly. I just think it's information you all should know. The Pantone color that we are using is specified in the city marketing plan. And the only thing that has been done to change that color since it was first chosen and announced in January is black has been added to tone it down. When it was put on the lamppost at the very beginning, all the committee members could see that it was too bright.
Thank you. You use the microphone.
Just lower it down to your phone. There you
Can't hear.
I'm sorry. I hope everyone, I don't want to start over. Don't want to put you through it all again. I will share with you that I have a long-term friendship with a very prominent urban retail consultant who I did just run this idea of using these colors by. Actually, I ran the idea of using the black colors by him. He said, why wouldn't you want to make something more festive? This is a resort, premier resort community in northern Michigan. It deserves its own identity. And so it wasn't just an idea that was pulled out of the sky by volunteers. The marketing colors had already been determined. This is another reason it wasn't pulled out of the sky. They are in the city marketing plan. Some work had gone into determining that these are the colors that should be used. No difference was made from them. The clock is going to remain green at least for another year. No one's going to rush in to changing the color on that clock. There are reasons for that. It's made by a company that makes two colors of clock. If anything, it should be painted black because it does need a new coat of paint. I'm not sure what the burgundy sign was that I referred to, but I would love to be able to see, and I'm sure they're available pictures that you could pass out tonight. Many of you know I worked in Petoskey for over 20 years, and I can tell you that there is a color that they use in Petoskey. It's a Pantone formula for it, and the name of it is Petoskey Green, the same as Complete Paint has arrived at a color for us called Harbor Blue. That color was put on the post, and there's maintenance done to that color every single year. In the month of April, you can see the painters out there swarming over the parking meters, the bike racks, and the lampposts, the benches, anything that is green and it is touched up. I know that because my department paid for it. And I would also like you to know that when the enhancement committee started this program, they also took an inventory downtown of some of the things that needed to be worked on. And these are the ones that came to the top at the very beginning. Maybe some of the items that Israel talked about, there are private items on the sidewalk, and there are also public items that are put in the public right of way. Everything that goes in the public right of way from here forward will match the plan that this committee has come up with. Another thought that I had when Israel talked about the dark sky is, this is something that I don't disagree with. This should be considered. This is a reason for maybe not investing a large amount of money in these lampposts. Something needs to be done. They are not in good condition. They have not had any maintenance for 17 years. Now, well, that I know of, they have not been painted for 17 years. Now is the time to get them to look different. If we can get an idea of something that might look a little different and give us some identity of our own, this might be the time to do it. And then when we do work with a consultant and do hire someone to help us through a streetscape plan, that is in the DDA plan and could be talked about even for the budget this year. When we get to that point, then we'll know what blue looks like on the lamppost, and we wouldn't have spent a lot of money to find out about it. And maybe we would decide as a community, public input, maybe we would decide then we need lampposts that unfortunately shine downward and don't illuminate with the globes of the beautiful lampposts that we do have now. I thank you for your time.
Maggie Lacy, speaking as a resident of Park Springs, 315 East 3rd Street. A lot of good information this evening, and I appreciate all the information. And especially, this town being so passionate, making sure that we keep the classic look. I mean, I think we've heard it through planning, and we're hearing it here tonight. I do want to step back and really think about the process that we're going to do, because this is all of the downtown district, and what happens in the downtown district is the look of Harbor Springs. So it's not just everything else. What the DDA does is going to impact the outcome of the look of what Harbor Springs will become. And so I think it's very important that everybody, we have steps that we watch and we understand. When we looked at the April meeting that took place, yes, a presentation was given to you. But if you go back and review it, we were not using professional presentations. We don't have it. We didn't have it on a digital platform to present to you. We didn't have things to scale. We were talking about the flower pots because we were moving in summer. And so when we talked about the light posts, which happens to probably be the most expensive asset that we have in downtown, the wayfinding signs were something that were placed in 2017 or maybe a little bit around that time. That wasn't something that town embraced. That's something that the DDA wanted. And so when we look at the marketing plan that was created by that, it wasn't necessarily the history of Harbor Springs and what we wanted to do with the streetscapes as well as the overall view. So my recommendation is, and especially looking to scale, looking to color, looking to safety, because we already identified that the flower pots have some safety concerns. And during that meeting, we had no idea where we were going to be placing these pots. And so now that we have some experience, I think we have to learn from what we did. We need to learn that we have to have some professional digital plans to present to you to scale. I was watching some videos where the museum was talking about how they were going to be coloring and showing the booth colors, and it was all there together presenting to you. And this wasn't brought to anybody's attention until we were actually painting the lamppost. And we did do a lot of adjusting that color. The contract is $14,000. We have spent a lot more on the merchant walkway, and we had to walk away from those funds. I don't think holding this back and really doing its due justice based on what the community is saying to you all, that you can really kind of say, let's reevaluate this. That's my only concern. I don't think that based on the DDAs, it is, you guys approve the budget. I don't know what authority that you do have to put it on hold. And that is something that I think that the people are concerned about, because a lot of the subcommittees, they're not recorded. You're invited to go as a public, but you can't go back and listen to those meetings. And so you do have the DDA meetings that take place, but a lot of those decisions have already been made. So I just think that you have to figure out how we're going to move forward where the town is involved and we are not stepping, because we're looking at 3rd Street with the electrical lines. That's a big topic. We're looking at Bay Street, we're looking at all the lights, we're looking at moving the trees and the sidewalks. Somebody professional that's not so enmeshed in it, so then we can look at this objectively, can give us some options and really do it like arbitration. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, we do have one person online. Becky, if you would unmute yourself. Please state your name.
This is Becky Backus, 500 West Summit Street. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I have a couple of comments. I've mentioned it before, but every meeting that the city has, council, planning commission, the harbor master meeting, the zoning board, everything starts at a different time. We have 8 o'clock for DDA, we have 7 o'clock for city council, we have 5:30 for zoning. I think, or at least my opinion is that we need to have one start time for all these meetings. There's very few people that can go to an 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning DDA meeting, except the DDA people. People that work can't go. So that's one comment. The other comment that I have is the State Street Road project that's currently dug up. Last summer, there was, when I walked down the road, there was a drain that had been removed, and there was a asphalt patch over this drain that had been there. So it was a little confusing to me, this water abatement project. Why we removed a drain and then to redo the road for water. I also don't understand why we narrowed the road when this is a general thoroughfare for a lot of traffic. It just seems like we're going to be asking for trouble when a big truck makes a right-hand turn up that street. So those are my two comments. The street and the different meeting times.
Thank you, Becky.
Mr. Mayor, I have a,
There's a hand in.
oh, sorry.
That's, oh, right there, sorry. You guys can't see the screen.
Hi, I'm Warner Brown at 19 Beach Drive. And on the subject of street sign and light color, it's sort of dipping into taste. Like you may love it and I hate it and everybody's gonna be different. But as a city, it sounds like the council, in my opinion, should hold off and be in the realm of black or dark green, something that is timeless and won't fade, won't be a nuisance going forward. And oftentimes you get into the future and I'm talking to Jamie at dinner or something and say, why does downtown look so crazy? We got these 5 different colors going. And the answer is always something like, I don't know. You know, one group did something, another group did something else. And it might be time to cut all that off at this point, since you've got the opportunity and say, no, let's just do black or dark green or something that's timeless and easy to maintain. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Some of you may know I serve on the planning commission as well as city council. And I've been in that capacity since the beginning of the year. And I think we have estimated that we've spent over 1,700 hours interacting with commission members, members of the community, members of the council. And while there are definitely differences of opinion and perspectives, I have found most of the interactions that have occurred to be constructive and pretty positive. Unfortunately, until recently. And recently I've noticed what I would perceive to be an increase in the vitriol and vitriolic exchanges between and among members of the community, among members of the various commissions, even within the commissions themselves, within city council and boards and so on. And I just appeal to the community, we can do better than that. We absolutely can do better than that, and we should. So I'm just appealing to everyone. Can we try and take the temperature down a little bit, at least a couple of degrees? We all want what's best for Harbor Springs. We all want what's best for Harbor Springs, even if we may not agree on how to get there. So let's try and restore a little bit more mutual respect, in particular, gratitude and appreciation for the persons that serve on the committee, that give up their time to serve the community. And I know it may sound Pollyannish, but I just felt like I needed to express that concern and that sentiment, and I hope you'll all work with me to make that happen.
Thank you, Bob. You got an MPA, Scott?
Yep, the consent agenda,
Do we need to approve?
approved agenda. Yeah,
We need to approve.
I think we. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the subject?
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And the next topic now is the consent. And the only thing on the consent agenda was the Little Traverse Bay, well, the minutes, the bills, and the Little Traverse Bay Bands, Ottawa Indians Parade event, which they talked to a little later.
We said that we were going to have on the consent agenda, we have the August 18th regular meeting minutes. We didn't put on here, we also need to approve the closed session meeting minutes.
Yeah. That was intentionally left out, so it would be both August 18th regular and closed session, open and closed session minutes. But it says August 18th regular meeting minutes, so you have open and closed session. So it's covered in the agenda, it's just not specified that there's both open and closed.
Yes. On the agenda, but you have all received both sets of minutes.
Right.
So the consent agenda is approved along with the closed session.
Can you talk up so we can hear you in the audience, please?
If nobody has anything, I would move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Bob Buckner,
Yes.
Wendy Reeve,
Yes.
Tom Graham.
Yes.
Jamie Melky.
Yes.
Kathy Much.
Yes.
Motion carried.
On the discussion items.
All right, so the item 4A is the energy waste reduction plan and NPPA program project participation agreement. Michigan law now requires that electric utilities comply with the Clean and Renewable Energy and Energy Waste Reduction Act. Originally it was passed in 2008. And the city was complying with it. We had a third-party vendor. And then in 2021, the state made it a voluntary program after the electric utilities lobbied Congress to say we could do a better job by ourselves. So for a few years, we were voluntarily doing it, but now the state has reimposed those mandates because a lot of the electric utilities weren't meeting certain goals for that. So the state added more energy waste reduction rules, and now we have to comply with those. As I mentioned, we originally contracted when it first went into effect with Efficiency United. And this is a program where, you get free light bulbs, you get energy audits, you can exchange your commercial refrigerator or washing machine for one that's more energy efficient, for example. So there's commercial and residential perks to it. How this works is, on our local level, is if you're a commercial business, if you're a commercial customer, you see a $2.86 charge on your monthly bill. If you're a residential customer, you'll see a 1.25% charge on your bill. If you are a member if you subscribe to the voluntary green program, pricing program, you at the 50% level or higher, you don't see that charge on your bill. So that is what we've been doing for the last 3 years. We've been contracting with a third party through the NPPA, the Michigan Public Power Agency, which we remember. They've been dealing with that third party, which is Franklin Energy. They've been handling all that clean energy programs and the energy waste reduction programs that we have in place. But now that it's back to a state requirement, no longer voluntary, there's new requirements that we have to meet. And the NPPA is going to, several of the NPPA members now are going to join with the NPPA for them to contract to do all this work for us. And essentially, we have to achieve 1.5% energy savings, and NPPA will keep track of that. How we've charged customers was to get to $75,000 annually. That was our voluntary amount that we decided to do in 2021. We determined that if we raise $75,000 annually from electric customers, we would be able to achieve these energy savings. I can tell you that we don't spend $75,000 on the program annually. We probably get between 30 and 40,000, maybe 50,000. Just depends on the year. So, so that's the state now has stricter requirements. So the NPPA is going to be more, now that it's a mandate, the NPPA is going to be more diligent about ensuring that we meet all of the standards. We have to get about $100,000 from our customers. So we have to up that $45,000. And you see in your packet, there's an energy waste reduction plan together by the NPPA, which is a 4-year plan about how much money and savings we would need. And it's all for each year, it's about $100,000. For this first year, we will have money left over from the program, so it's likely that we wouldn't need to raise anything our customers' bills for next year based on this. We have to wait till the end of the year to really get a good idea of how much money we will have left in that fund. So kind of like our low income energy assistance fund program, where you have a revolving fund, you might not spend all that $100,000 a year. You could have some left over that you can put into your fund for the next year. But basically what we need, the other option was to opt into the state's program. The state, you could opt in, the state would take care of this, but then again, your dollars wouldn't stay local necessarily. So the reason why we opted out of the state's program was we wanted to make sure that the energy savings is kept here local for our electrics. So what you have in front of you is the agreement with the NPPA for us to contract with them to manage this program for us. We just don't have the resources capability to do it ourselves, so it just costs us way more money to do it ourselves, as well as the energy waste reduction plan. And those are what we need approval for to go forward with this. If you have any questions, please feel free.
It doesn't appear that we have any other options.
Well, the other option that we discussed, and we've discussed this over the years, because at the fall of 2023, we knew this was going to come back. So the only other option was to go with the state, to go to the state's program. It's either go with the states or have a third party do it. And if we could choose another third party, but the most cost effective is going to be the NPPA, because they're combining all the municipalities. So they're scaling it to all the municipalities that have electric utilities that want to join. So the savings, you're gonna have fewer people working for more utilities to get this done. So we could go back to, find our own third party like Efficiency United, which the state is using Efficiency United, and we used Efficiency United before 2021. But after the math was done at the NPPA and what it would cost us, it's just save us more money by going, at least the administrative money is going to be saved by going with NPPA. And we want to keep this administrative costs down, so we can keep as much energy saving to our customers. Yeah, there is a choice, but we didn't like the choice of going the state.
But we have to do one or the other.
You have to do one or the other. Before it was voluntary, 3 years ago it was voluntary, and we didn't have to do this. But the MMEA, which is the Michigan Municipal Electric Association, strongly advised municipalities to do it voluntarily, because they said if we don't, it's probably going to come back as a mandate. Well, we were one of the few that decided to do it voluntarily, and not enough did it. And I don't think the state was happy enough with the results they were seeing.
I kind of agree with Wendy. It doesn't seem like we have a lot of choice. If this is the best program, we should probably go with it.
And there is a fact sheet that you saw in there too, as well, that kind of weighed the state, the options of going with the NPPA.
Is this a decision that is for permanent, or is it
No,
something we
yeah.
can change annually?
Not annually, so we are 4 years is what our plan is, 26 or 29. And then that's what this agreement is for. And then we can reevaluate in fall of 2029, summer or fall of 2029, if we want to continue with. And that's also when they may re-examine the legislation too, depending on what targets have been hit.
You want to vote on that?
Yeah, we would need a motion to approve the project participation agreement with the NPPA, as well as the energy waste reduction.
There's a motion from anyone?
I move that we approve the program project participation agreement with MPPA and the energy waste reduction plan as explained.
I'll second it.
Take any discussion, anyone?
We already participate with MPPA. Is it a benefit or a non-benefit if we're also using them for this?
It's a benefit because we join in with all the other electric utilities and part of the Public Power Association to see those administrative costs. So like on the low income energy assistance fund that we're doing ourselves, we don't participate with them on that, but we've utilized their resources as well as MME's resources to help each other out to create a program. And when we participate in the MPPA, what they mainly do for us is help us purchase power, analyze costs, analyze programs, projects, develop projects for us, whether they're renewable or non-renewable projects for us to get electricity. So that's their main why we joined them back in the 1970s, right? That's their main function for us. However, with this legislation that went into effect, it just made more sense financially. People who know our system and know our program, know what we do here to be administrating it as opposed to going to some other third party that might not be as knowledgeable. And the support of the other utilities that are there as well. It's helpful.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Nobody so.
Damon Melky,
Yes.
Bob Buckner.
Yes.
Bonnie Raitt,
Yes.
Kathy Macho,
Yes.
Tom Graham.
Yes.
Carried.
Okay, item 4B, Mr. Mayor, is the mooring fee waitlist increase. At its August meeting, the Harbor Commission voted to recommend increasing the mooring waitlist fee from $35 to $100. That fee is in our waterfront rules and regulations. So that fee is established there. So we need to amend those rules in order to change that fee. Harbor Commission is advisory, so they're recommending that City Council makes this change. There was a variety of reasons for it, but two of the main reasons was one is to get the fees in line with the dock slip and kayak waitlist fees, which are both $100. So they saw some benefit to, why was the mooring at $35, let's up it to $100. And it wouldn't be a significant financial burden on those people. Secondly, it could be a way to motivate people who really might not be interested in being on the mooring waitlist anymore to just get off of it, so we can open up some more space or speed things along on the wait list. So those are the main reasons. Currently, we have over 80 individuals on the 200 mooring series and over 80 individuals on the 300 mooring series wait list. And we have sending out notices to people so we can update their contact information and their email addresses as well as to ask if they still want to be on the wait list. So the Harbor Commission also recommended that we send a letter or send notice to people who are already on the wait list that they have to pay the difference of the $100, the $35 and the $100 wait list fee. So if they already paid $35, we'd ask them to pay $65 more to remain on the wait list. This is in section 31.105 of the city code, as well as section D2. The waterfront rules can be amended. It's section C5 of the waterfront rules. It's being asked to be amended. Section D2 allows for amendment of the Harbor Commission rules, and that's they must be published in the same manner as an ordinance, which is section 31.105 of the city code. So if after we discuss this and council wants to go forward on this, we would just have to need a motion to amend the waterfront rules section C5 and then publish it as we would publish a normal ordinance. And I did include the draft minutes. Of course, there's several mistakes in draft minutes that's been pointed out to me. They are draft minutes. The Harbor Commission has not seen those. So just want to clarify, those are draft minutes. There are some correct things in there.
Any explanation as to the disparity between the $35 for the mooring fee and the $100 for the slip and the kayak fees?
I think it was mentioned, I think this question was asked, and I think at the time, there was just, that's what other places were doing. I might be recalling what the conversation was. I know Jim Bartlett was in attendance they asked him a couple questions about that. I don't remember if he said that, but I do remember they were trying to just keep with what other communities were doing for their fees. But it's been a long time since they've been analyzed.
I think they're all negotiated at different times. for different reasons.
Yeah.
We tried to expand the kayak, and that's when they raised.
But there may be, that may not be the full justification. That's just what I recall. It could be more to it too, but.
Yeah.
I know this is sort of off topic, but since you mentioned it, the letters that the Harbor Commission or the Harbor Master is sending to people that are on the wait list to update their information, is that waiting on our approval to change the rate?
No, so they're sending that out, but once we get email, because we're asking people for the email addresses, because some people have been on here for decades,
Right, I
right? So we don't have
understand.
their email addresses. So once we get all those email addresses, we figured it'd be easier to send everyone a mass email. And then
Yeah.
those people who don't have email addresses, then we can mail out. It'll just save us time and money if we have emails on record, and we can ask them to make that payment front.
So if I understand this correctly, this is really just a deposit, because
Yes.
you can refund it.
Yes, this is, yep, it's just a fee to get on the wait list. It's a
And
deposit
then
to get on the wait.
if you drop off the wait list, your money comes back to
Yes, but if you stay on and get a mooring or slip, it's just it.
you. Apply to your first.
Correct.
Any more discussion, from anybody? No. I'll make a motion, we go along with the plan of the Harbor Commission's proposal. For the $100, et cetera.
I'll second.
Okay, since it is an amendment to a bylaws and code of a commission, we will do a roll call. Tom Graham,
Yes.
Bob Buckner,
Yes.
Wendy Reed,
Yes.
Jamie Melky,
Yes.
and Kathy Macho.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Mayor, the next item is this city manager personnel review, closed session. I would ask that perhaps we do the city manager's report and then the appointment of the student board members to the boards and commissions first. So those that want to leave can leave.
Yeah. I'm sure that-
Council's okay with that.
Fine with me.
So, mhm.
Let's probably go with the board members first. We have, of course, for those that don't know, we do have positions on the tree board, DDA, the Parks Board, and the Planning Commission for high school juniors and seniors to serve as a non-voting member on our boards. It works mutual benefits to both the city and to the students. The students get to learn more about local government, and our boards get to learn more about younger perspectives on what's going on in town. So we received 3 applications on time for the boards. We also received 1 that came a couple hours late. So we put that person, recommended that person go on the board that was the least desirable board for people to serve on. And then we did get 1 today. I let them know, I passed that application on to you as council. I did note to them that it was probably unfair for those who got theirs to me by Friday that this person turned in late, but I'm really excited to get another opportunity. So, but the members that I have, that I'm recommending based on those original applications we received last week, is Liz Bassett for the Downtown Development Authority, Kaylin Seaman for the Parks and Recreation Board, Avery Hoffman for the Planning Commission, and Henry Crizel for the Tree Advisory Board. Liz is currently on the DDA, was last year's, and Henry was last year's Tree Advisory Board member as well. So it's awesome that they both wanted to return to those positions. So this is typically done by a mayoral motion and council confirmation. If you guys are okay with this.
I think we are.
I hate to turn down anybody. Can we put 2 students on one board?
Yeah, I know. This is actually the year we've had with least applicants. I mean, we had some years where we've had like 9, 10, 11 kids. So we've tried to stick to 1 per board. But if council wants to change that policy in the future, we can. We could also, we've thought about expanding it to other boards, but they just meet too infrequently to make it worthwhile. For example, the Harbor Commission mainly meets in the summer, and it's really not a good time for students to, serve on. Sometimes we have special meetings, and in the winter, but it just isn't ideal board. The ZBA also, once every 4 or 5 months, sometimes they meet, and so again, we've thought about that, so.
What about the airport authority or the sewer authority?
We would have to go to those boards, because those are comprised of different municipalities, they're separate from our city control, so we probably have to ask them if they wanted to do the joint review program. The airport, the fire, and the sewer authority wanted to do that, because they do meet regularly. Well, the sewer authority meets regularly monthly, but the fire meets quarterly, I think.
Yeah,
The airport meets regularly, right?
yeah, usually 6 times a year.
But sewer meets monthly, so. So that would, but yeah, you can pose that to them. But that would also want to probably open it up to not just Harbor Springs schools, because there's other municipalities that
Right.
constitute the Harbor.
At least on the sewer authority, they're Oski, Lansing, parts of Pellston, but airport would be strictly Harbor.
Well, they, Pegasi's, aren't they on the
Oh,
board?
yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, they'll just have to catch up to us.
Yeah. What's your pleasure, Council? I just want to vote.
I'm okay with those recommendations.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, I'm good with.
Smart kids. Probably smarter than the people on the mission.
Oh.
You're speaking for yourself. Sorry, Bill.
Well, getting by consensus, we approve the as presented. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And normally when there's more students applying, and there's competition for the same seats, we sit down and have a discussion, especially with the board chairs and the staff, but in this case, we only had one for each, and then the one that submitted late, so. All right,
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
We have a vacancy on tree board right now. Will you be posting for that?
I have posted on the website and social media once, and it's in the newsletter. We also have a vacancy on the tree board, the ZBA and the DDA, which we will be posting that one too, so. It is getting close to that time where we make the announcement for December's, people to be appointed in December, so. Hopefully we can get someone to get on, but before then, but we're gonna do mass postings in October for encouraging people to apply for all the positions that are terming out in end of December.
Sure.
Shouldn't there be a motion by the council to put the painting of the poles on hold until more discussion and investigation can be held? Because as of now,
Well, we aren't yet to the new and old business,
okay,
so, yeah.
Okay, I will move on to the city manager's report. I'll go through the order here. The FEMA grant reimbursement process for the ice storm recovery is completed on the city's end. We have did everything we need to do with FEMA, and now we're just waiting final word from FEMA on approval. It looks like if we do get approval, as I mentioned last time, we are looking at $40,000 plus getting reimbursed for what we've done, so.
400.
Yeah, that's reimbursing us not just for our overtime work and expenses, but also for our regular time work for debris removal. So that's why we're getting reimbursed for the month our DPW guys spent cleaning, debris, and electric guys spent doing stuff. We're getting reimbursed for that. So that's good news. We didn't get final word, but it's likely across the board. The electric engineering team should have our substation bids for council review and selection in October. We had hoped to get the materials for September, but they were running a little bit behind. They just couldn't get into the September meeting. So hopefully in the first October meeting, we will get materials to select, as well as by the second October, possibly the actual substation construction. Kind of tied into that, because we talked about what based on what our bond is. So we won't know what our exact bond amount will be until we know what the project costs. And that affects what the bond rate is. City Clerk Whitaker has been in contact with consultants for conducting an electric rate study. And I don't know if Nick, you've heard back from them yet, but our thought is if we can get the electric rate study done in the next couple of months, we'd be in time for council to make a decision in December on how to structure our electric rates. We went through a few examples of what it could look like a few months ago, whether it's initial 5% this year, 3% following years, or higher in the first year or lower in the first year. There's different ways to structure the rates, but the last electric rate study we had was 3 or 4 years ago. And it's probably a good time anyway to have another one done, but I just don't know if we will be able to get one.
Oh, yeah, I think we can. How I envisioned it falling out is they ask for just a terrible amounts of data, which is fine, but since we're unknown of the actual debt that we're looking at, whether it be 7.2 or, leave that number unplugged, but hopefully still be able to have some solid numbers so we can implement rates or at least discuss them in December. Here's some options from our consultants.
Are you anticipating that the rate study is going to take 2 months?
Well, there's an awful lot of data, but yeah, we're not their only client.
Well, I
So, I mean,
understand, I understand.
But if I got the ball rolling here, I would like to think, I think the last one was 6 to 8 weeks. So it'd be pushing right up on
That's really tight.
the end of the year. Yes, it is. But as far as budgeting purpose goes, we can set rates. We usually set them by January.
We usually set the rates the last December meeting, which would be December 15th this year. So if we could have a discussion for them. Yeah, so. Nick will continue pushing them.
Or I'll find somebody else.
Or find someone better. One of the advantages to using an existing consultant is that they have all the data, they have much of the data.
And this group that we're working with is one of the top in the state. I mean, they're very good at what they do. So I'll keep you posted on the timeline for that.
All right, the next thing is part of, I mentioned this a couple meetings ago, that we were looking to upgrading our internet connection at City Hall with Spectrum. Right now we have coax, and we said we're going to look into fiber to have a more stable connection and faster upload, download speed. So we did get a quote from Spectrum. The actual monthly cost is only going to be 10% higher than to do fiber than to do coax. So our monthly cost, I think, is $466 for coax. It'd be $510 for fiber, which is, I think great. The one concern we had was the build fees, the construction fees for the fiber. They quoted at $9,000, but they waived that fee. So I think it's a good deal. I don't think there's, it'll do something to help us out, something small to help us out with at least the stability, hopefully, of the internet connection. We're also working with AT&T to get rid of several of our copper lines and numbers that we do not use. We have several fax lines, several lines that we don't know where they go to that we've been paying for. And so we did a review with them, and there's about a dozen lines that we can get rid of. So we're working to get rid of those lines. So we stop on those lines. So just working on some internal things to make sure we're not wasting money on things that we should be wasting money on. As you can tell, this presentation system is not working. Lucas met with an AV consultant, I think from the UP, honestly. We couldn't find one locally. So they got one from the UP just to examine our system there, and they were tinkering around there to look at what we had. And I think in that process, that was on Monday, I think during that process, they pressed something that I don't know what they pressed exactly. So I have to spend more time with Lucas or IT to figure out how to get the system back working. But there, we do have an AV person. I'm just updating. We do have someone looking into it. We're going to see if we can find another consultant as well, but they're going to get some ideas to us, and we'll bring those back to council when we know what those different options are. I think the way Lucas had asked them was, we have, light, small scale, medium scale, high end, to give us 3 different packages to see what they could look like for audio and visual.
Do you have a sense of timing for that?
No, Lucas has been out for a week or so, he went out after he met with the consultant, so when Lucas comes back from his leave, then I'll ask him when the estimated time for this. So,
What's the timing for the charter?
they say it could take up to 2 months, because they have to build the fiber. We do have some, but they have to connect it. Yeah, it's not as simple as just,
Do you happen to know how close in is the fiber?
well, we do have a fiber that lead, system that leads to the parking lot thing, yeah, but they have to.
It drops in the deer park.
Yeah, they have to build it out to the city hall, and they have to build it out to the police station.
Okay, so it's not like it's miles away.
No, it's not miles away.
I think the bank downtown.
Yeah, there are some, yeah.
Oh,
And then something special about Bay Street.
okay.
The last item I have is, so based only on the initial pleadings, the federal district court has dismissed several of Andrew Potter's wrong termination claims. This is a case that originally was filed in 2021, and then it was filed in the federal court last year. Jim, if you want to just expand a little bit on the court's ruling there.
Yes, I think some of you have seen the opinion of the
Yeah,
court.
here you go.
I think some of you have seen the opinion of the court, and just to give you a little background on this, the reason the court issued that opinion was that the city filed a motion to dismiss Mr. Potter's complaint on the basis that his claims failed to state a legally cognizable claim against the city and the individual defendants in the case. The court considered everything, and as part of its duty, what the court has to do is to accept every claim, every factual allegation that the plaintiff puts in his complaint as true. You have to assume that it's true for the purposes of this kind of a motion. Now, the city, of course, disputes most of the factual allegations that are in the complaint, but the court can't accept that at this point in time. For purposes of dismissing a complaint under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12b-6, it has to assume that the allegations are true. In this case, the court considered the matter and dismissed several of Mr. Potter's claims, including his claim of civil conspiracy under Section 1983 of the Civil Code. The court dismissed Potter's First Amendment retaliation claims, free speech and right to petition theories against all defendants. It dismissed Potter's substantive due process claim under the 14th Amendment against all defendants. It dismissed Potter's procedural due process claims under the 14th Amendment against Bogren and Raymond, and dismissed Potter's VPA claims against Bogren and Raymer, and Potter's Michigan public policy claims against all defendants. The court did not grant dismissal of the following items: Potter's procedural due process claim under the 14th Amendment against the city, Mayor Bugera, and city manager Sinanoski; procedural due process claims under the 14th Amendment against Bogren and Raymer, and the VPA claim against the city, Mayor Bugera, and city manager Sinanoski, and the WPA claims against the city, Mayor Bugera, and city manager Sinanoski. Finally, the court did dismiss Potter's state constitutional claim regarding Michigan's fair and just treatment provision on the ground that Mr. Potter lacked standing under the federal rules of civil procedure. So this ruling is not an adjudication of the case on the merits. It's simply an analysis of whether he has been able to allege facts, whether they're true or not. The court has to assume they're true. That would enable him to go into court and go to the next phase of this case, which is at the very beginning. We are at the very beginning of this entire matter. So the next part of this case is the case actually starts as a normal civil lawsuit, and Mr. Potter has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that his allegations are true, which the city, of course, disputes. So case is just starting. This is not an adjudication on the merits of the case. Mr. Potter has the same burden of proof he did before, which he has to prove his case. The city is disputing it and will move ultimately to possibly appeal. And so we'll be filing motions for summary judgment by the city to dismiss all remaining claims. So case is far from over, just getting underway in the federal court system.
Jim, if I'm hearing you correctly, so should I take from that that there has been no determination of liability?
That is correct. Okay. A long way from that.
How long do you think this thing will drag out for in a normal situation?
At least 2 years,
2 years.
at least.
Democracy and progress. Why didn't we hear about this last month?
I think the answer to that is, the ruling came out on August 19th, which was after the last city council meeting. So, that all interest me to that. So, and anyway, it certainly is not because the city administration didn't want to keep you informed of this. I think it's, if you're interested, we could have a closed session meeting with the attorneys who are representing the city in this case. The city, of course, has independent legal counsel on all matters. You know, I'm not involved personally as an attorney in the case. We have.
I'd like to go to court so much too.
What's that?
You like to go to court so much.
Yes, I love it. So anyway, if you would like to do that, we can certainly arrange for that and give you an update on where things stand, both in the state court proceeding and in the federal court proceedings. So if that's something that you all would like to do, we can make that happen. Would there be consensus that you want to do that?
I don't need that, but I like to be updated, know what's going on, everything with important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so typically, when there's an update, I provide it in the city manager's report. For example, I updated you on the Potter case in the city manager report back in June, as well as in July. If there's a decision or strategy that needs to be discussed at council level per our independent attorneys or per insurance company, then we come into closed session, and that goes on the agenda. So I think what happened here, probably really what happened is we had a month between meetings. So normally we have two weeks between council meetings, and you'll get that city manager report, you know, right away. But in this case, we just had 1 month between council meetings. So, but if council wants to see the information differently than city manager report, I'm more than happy to do as you want on that one.
But the only thing that you would report is, if I'm understanding this correctly, is that 6 of the claims were dismissed?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a pretty successful motion.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Can I ask a quick question on the legal fees? Are the city residents paying the legal fees?
No, that's insurance company.
And then can I follow up with a question? How does that affect the city's insurance premiums that the taxpayers pay?
I don't think it has, but
No, we're part of Michigan Municipal League Legal Defense Fund. So we can choose or choose not to contribute X to that. And it's just an amount that is spread across all members of the league throughout the state. So no, we've had no increases whatsoever in that part of the insurance bill, I guess, if you will.
right.
So did you ask Mr. Mayor that we be updated? Or
Yes.
not?
Okay.
Okay,
So
at
you want to be
a
updated
closed
in
meeting,
closed session? Or-
yes, doesn't have,
I don't think it needs a closed session.
what?
I'm okay without.
Don't mind.
Oh, without an update?
Without a closed session.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay, I just meant if we're gonna get an update schedule it at the next meeting then?
Only if council wants us to call on the independent attorney. It seems like
Yes, it would be very difficult to have a meaningful discussion in open session.
If we-
You just can't do that. It's just not possible.
Well-
So if you're satisfied with this report tonight, and we know that you want to be kept apprised as matters occur, we'll make sure that you are advised as we go along, whatever, if that sounds acceptable.
Keep us in the loop.
Okay.
Keep us, you and we will do that. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Just curious, are those fees capped?
No, defense costs are not capped.
With the program that you spoke of over here?
Legal defense fund?
Yeah, they're unlimited, so if it's $2 million, it's $2 million, if it's 200,000.
That's my understanding, yes. I would have to think if it escalated in tens of millions of dollars, there would become a discussion. But
if there's nothing, is there any other questions about city operations management?
Oh, do we want to do boards and committees before?
Yeah, I feel like boards and commissions are doing all this, I guess, before the session.
Yes, I think we should.
So the next one would be boards and commissions. Well, we already did student appointments, but council can go around and discuss what their boards have been talking about.
I can go first.
Turn on your mic.
Yeah, I will. I attended a Parks Board meeting on Tuesday, September 9th. We discussed Kiwanis Park plans and we made a little progress in that. We discussed events in city property and Fall Fest. And Fall Fest is on Saturday, October 4th, from 11 to 2 p.m. at Marina Park.
Make a meeting?
The sewer authority had a meeting last Thursday, which unfortunately I forgot to attend. So I apologize to everybody.
Kathy?
The ZBA did not meet this last month.
So the planning commission had numerous town halls over the last 7-8 days. And part of the process was to invite the community to come in and get a better understanding for what the differences are between the current zoning ordinance and some of the proposed changes that are being considered by the planning commission. It was a good exchange. Lots of people had an opportunity to express things that they liked and disliked about the proposed zoning ordinance. And we are going to get together this Thursday to consider all of the comments that we got from the community and decide what actions we want to take as a result of that.
Think about.
That is in the form of a public hearing.
Yes.
I went to a harbor commission meeting and they mainly talked about raising rates or changing fees, which we just went along with. Also, with the tree board meeting. Dana knows about all the tree board. I know you talked to her.
We discussed community council about potentially expanding what we do to also include the general environment things. We've not had a chance to talk about it as a board since the council meeting. We would ask us to give you more information. So, yeah, anything to report.
Where did that idea come from? Who brought that up? Never had that before, I don't think.
I did.
Have a proposed budget or something? I imagine you could spend a lot of money on those two items.
We're not anticipating any money being spent at this time.
Good.
I'll just remind you, one of our main purposes is to provide outreach to the community and information on things that we're working on and trees and create a sense of stewardship. And so a lot of what we do is more outreach and education rather than programs that cost money.
So I've got anything else?
Did the council since we had a rather extensive presentation by various people regarding the DDA proposed lamppost and other projects, I'm thinking we need to put that, we need to take some action, put it on an agenda. I mean, I don't think we can just ignore it. How about?
There's an opportunity to discuss under new and old business, if that's where we're at right now. So yeah.
Oh, that's what I assume.
Yeah, that's
Under
where we're
new
at.
and
So,
business.
yeah.
Okay.
Quick question, but do we have authority to affect what the DDA does? They're quite separate.
So I would ask, Jim to do some research on that. There's, I guess, two things I would want to say that. On one hand, it's the city's infrastructure. So the city owns that infrastructure. So clearly, you own it as a city. And the second, on the flip side of that, the city council established a DDA to accomplish goals and stuff in the downtown district and passes the budget and approves a downtown development plan. In that plan, we talk about major projects come to city council for approval. So I don't know is my answer, because on one hand, you have a DDA that has authority to do things within the downtown district as long as the budget is approved by council. On the other hand, it's city-owned infrastructure. It owns it. So I don't have I would have to ask Jim to do a legal opinion on that, because on one hand, it seems like, yeah, it's the city's lighthouse, but on the other hand, it seems, well, you have this ordinance establishing a DDA to manage the downtown, so.
I would like to point out a couple of things. On December 16th of last year at the informational meeting that the DDA held, they had a slide that said the purpose of the DDA is to analyze the impact of economic changes and growth in the downtown district of the city of Harbor Springs. It is also to develop plans in coordination with the city council and the planning commission that will promote orderly economic growth in the downtown district. And I don't feel like the planning commission or the city council has gotten a fair chance to make comments on any of their plans. When we were proposed the budget, it was a very brief, we have a downtown plan. They did bring it to us because we asked after being told we don't have to, so we're not going to, but they did anyway. I've also attended DDA meetings where they said we don't want any more public comment. And so I do think that there is a chance now that we can work together as a community, and the DDA can work with the planning commission and the city council like they say they want to do to make this right. I think that they need to come to us and present to us before we approve their budget, because if we are just approving a budget with numbers, that's not fair to us to sit there and say, well, they have the authority because you approved the budget. Well, we didn't know the details of the budget. And so I think that there is a little bit of conflict here that we need to resolve.
Okay. Got anything else?
So how do we go about doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, yeah, to Jamie's point, it does call for that, and I think that also is part of the development plan. So the city council passed a TIF development plan back in 2 years ago. So 2 years ago that passed, and well,
I think it was 2024 to 2038.
yeah, it's a 15-year development plan, and so that's the plan that was approved by the city council that kind of gives a DDA of authority to go forward with it. But within that plan, it talks about how these big major projects would be, coordinated with the city council. So I guess, you could debate on whether painting the light posts of different colors is a major project. I'm not going to make that opinion or not. It's a small cost project, but it seems like it's a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it. So, but yeah, that's all I would say about that. It's kind of, I don't know
is the fact that the cost is over the city, the $10,000 amount that usually the city council approves.
The DDA uses that, they're a separate authority, so they use it as a guideline, but they can establish their own purchasing as long as it doesn't contradict with anything in the city code. But they try to follow our purchase policy.
So do you think the appropriate first step is to ask Jim to look into
Well, I think, I mean, if you want to save some money, the first question is to see if you want to ask the DDA if, you know, they're willing to do something. I mean, or I feel like having Jim do the research could get you a definitive answer on control, or maybe not, it could be a gray area, but if you want to have a conversation with the DDA, you know, just tell them what you're thinking, and you can ask them something, and then they can respond. And Jim can maybe simultaneously do that research too, if you wanted to.
He's on retainer, he has less time, right?
Well, maybe would a joint council DDA meeting be appropriate to air some of these ideas and see what their reaction is?
You can propose that. Yeah. You've done joint
How
meetings
does,
before.
how does council feel about it?
I'm not,
Big meetings.
I guess my question is there a way without violating Open Meetings Act to have a working session between the council and the DDA? I know that's.
It would just be open to the public. I mean, you'd have to have it open. A working session would have to be open to the public, unless it was not a quorum of the boards. So if it was two council
You'd
members.
have to not be, okay.
I think that this kind of is a bigger issue in general, where it might not be a bad idea once we get a new council, maybe in January of every year, to have a working session so that council can say, these are my goals, or these are what we want to do, and council can really shape the future of what the boards and committees are working on, and shape the future of the community. Because I feel like we are able to do that, but a lot of times it's complicated to get something on an agenda, whereas if we could put it all out there in January and we could touch on it as we have time, I think that would be what is most appropriate.
Are you suggesting though that we wait till January to address this particular project?
No, I think that this project needs addressed now, but I don't know that I don't know if they're willing. I don't know if, Victor, if you want to talk to the DDA and see if they want to have a conversation about this, but I do think that we've heard a lot of feedback, and I don't think that Margaret's personal social media is the best way to do a survey.
Could certainly talk with Becky later about what they want to do, but I think it probably would be better for council to have a motion on what they want to happen, because you could ask the DDA, but you know what I suspect, if I can have a conversation with the DDA, and then it'll take some time to relay that back to you. And in the meantime, what's happening with the lampposts? Are they being painted? And if they're painted and council doesn't like it, then do you paint over them? I mean, I this, could go different directions. So I think you probably should want to make an open, specific ask about them in this meeting, and make that ask. The chair and the director are both right there. So.
Could I make just one comment that I think you should consider? The contract is signed, the painter has received a deposit, and he has set aside that deposit, was our guarantee he would set aside this time in the fall to do the project. And he's gonna expect the remainder by the end of October, when he gets the project finished. And then the other part of the timeline is, as we all know, you can't paint after a certain time. It's too snow, it's gonna be cold, you can't do it. So that's when they're asking about the hurry. So Becky, has he ordered the paint? The paint, the DDA is paying for, color has been chosen, and I don't believe.
But if they're paid at your, look at the paint sitting around if the guy's gonna start tomorrow.
He could,
I don't
he
think
could
it's a
have
big
gone,
deal.
but he's gonna expect his pay.
Well, he'll get his pay for doing the work, but whether it's black or
By
it's
the
white.
end of October, he's gonna expect to pay for the contract, is what I want you to see.
Yeah.
They're gonna mix the paint in small batches, because no one knows exactly how much paint it's gonna cost to take, so just know that.
But I think that the amount of money that it's going to cost to repaint over the lamppost, if it's not received well, is going to be well over what you could lose by getting out of this contract at this time.
So you're suggesting we pay off the contract and
Wait,
I think the amount of money you're gonna spend on paint in this contract. And then to have, if you had to change it in the future, would cost a lot more than getting out of a contract right now.
Yes.
and I just mentioned something just sitting here. Why didn't you have an open mind in the next week and pick a paint color? We have picked a paint color. I know, you have. And obviously you, I just said to you, the paint color on the pole is not the paint color that was on that post, or on the post office box today. So it wasn't, you're bringing that and saying, this is a slate blue, where it's more of a turquoisey blue. And I sat at three tables of cards today, and they said, take my proxy vote in there. We do not want that. Do you not want the current one or the one we started with? You know what? It's not that much different.
Can I just?
Yeah.
Can I just make one?
Well, I think we've got to the point where this is a decision by council.
You know, I just think make one. There's a lot of rust in it.
We have a lot of conversation going on.
Too much.
Yeah, I think this, you know, let's bring it back to the council table to make it.
I think it's, looks to me like with all the comments we heard, the only problem they would have possibly with painting the posters, they don't like your color real well.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
I make a motion that council direct the DDA to paint the lamp posts glossy black. It's a safe color, it's easy to touch up, it's easy to maintain.
Second.
Well, I didn't hear the motion.
To paint the
Paint them.
posts black.
Paint the post black,
Glossy.
glossy.
Yeah.
They have the right to do.
So the DDAs, so here, the DDA is a separate authority, so the council, you can make that motion, but the DDA board would have to vote on it too, because they also, council controls the budget, they also control the budget too, it's controlled by both of these, so you could make a motion to do that, but the DDA would then also have to take it to their board to make a motion.
We found out we don't have authority, it means nothing.
I mean, now,
So that's why my question goes
Yeah.
back to. Shouldn't we have a joint meeting between the council and the DDA to discuss this?
that's, you know, a question, not to me.
Well, but I think when I mentioned that before, you said you needed some sort of more
Request.
definite action from the city, and that's where I'm not
Yeah,
clear.
how soon do you want it? You have the DDA chair and the DDA director here in front of you. So
Just have one question. When you say discuss this, are you talking about the lamp posts? Is that what we want a joint meeting for?
the lamppost color, I'm assuming.
The lamp
I
post
think
color
that's
would
the
like
most
to-
important issue.
Well, that appears to be the most, let me say, timely or urgent urgent issue. There have certainly been other comments tonight about the overall plan and all of that, which I have to admit, I'm not
That'd be my question. You don't
very
wanna get
familiar with.
professional.
Excuse me.
Well,
I'm
yeah, that's
speaking.
not, see, what I want to do is to bring something back to the DDA. We have all kinds of things going on here. And we're talking about color of the lamppost right now, not because we're at ground zero. I mean, we're gonna execute. So we have to, Becky and I are in no position, we can't make any decision that has to go to the DDA forward. Now, we, you know, but if that's what you want us, that's your recommendation, we go to the board, because we have to go very quickly. That's what we'll talk about, you know, not the master plan right now, we just need to take care of this before it goes any farther. Not that we're not gonna just talk about that, but we need something to take right now.
And you're what you're suggesting, Gail, is that you go back to your board and discuss what you
Well, we
want to
have
do, or
to.
do you want to have that be a meeting with,
No.
with us? No. Okay, that's,
I mean, you can attend.
I don't mean that.
It's open to the public, but I think if what the city council wants us to do, if Wendy's motion, have us paint the lamp
No
post
second.
glossy black, then we have to take it to our board. I can't say anything because it is a board decision, not, you know, like a Gail Brown decision.
I understand, but the motion has no second.
right now, but I meant if that is what the council wants.
Anyway, that's what it's looking like it to go.
What? I don't understand what you're saying.
Council actually towards liking black.
I haven't seen any.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Don't worry.
I move that we ask the DDA to hold a special meeting to discuss the lamp post color and potentially getting out of the contract.
I actually have two motions on the table, so one is gonna have to be
I'm gonna,
melded together
I'll
or.
second Jamie's motion.
What was Jamie, what was your motion? I didn't hear.
I moved that the council asks the DDA to hold a special meeting to discuss the lamp post color after hearing the feedback from the public, and that they consider getting out of the contract.
I do have a second from Kathy Macho.
Yep.
Since we're putting directions at another board, I will do a roll call. Bob Buckner,
Yes.
Kathy Macho,
Yes.
Tom Graham.
Yes.
Wendy Reeve.
Yes.
And Jamie Melky.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Is there any other old or new business?
Do I have any? Money?
Yes. Let's address the dinosaur in the room. These are excerpts from the tree board minutes from 2019 through 2025, which are posted online and available to any citizen who cares to look them up. February 19th, 2021. Vice Chair Mulder stated the tree advisory board should address clear cutting on private property, highlighting the recent and alleged East Bluff clear cutting by a new property owner for view purposes. July 16th, 2021. Vice Chair Dana Mulder brought up the possibility of giving rebates to residents who plant desirable trees in private property. Senadowski believed it would probably be perceived as an inappropriate use of taxpayer funds to give money to residents to plant trees on private property. September 17th, 2021. Vice Chair Dana Mulder asked whether the city could hire a part-time employee to specifically focus on tree maintenance. Senadowski responded that it is a good idea, but there would need to find a revenue source for cuts found elsewhere. July 15th, 2022. Patrick Wise suggested the city should do something to promote and protect heritage and landmark trees. Wise thinks the greater community should have some say in the status of such trees, and the tree board should do what it can to protect those trees. July 16th, 2023. Chair Dana Mulder presented two options for State Street. The first option is to add shade trees to the house side of the sidewalk because the boulevard, meaning the city right away, is only 2 to 3 feet wide, which is too narrow to plant trees. Some of the trees may be on private property, however. Senadowski said that he is not comfortable spending city money to plant trees on private property, given the precedent it could set, along with maintenance and liability if the tree damages property were personal. Mulder suggested it may be the only way to get tree coverage on that street. Senadowski said he would ask DPW Director Lucas Vandersee about the amount of room in the right of way on State Street. So several citizens have asked me to apologize to the tree board for my comments of August 18th. While I will recognize that the verbiage was offensive, and I do apologize for that, in light of the tree board's very clear and continuing attempts to assert private property owners' rights, I cannot fully issue an apology without trivializing the exasperating anguish visited upon several fellow citizens who were simply exercising their rights to maintain their property in a manner consistent with their wishes. There are only 5 of you, and you cannot mandate to the rest of your community how their private property is to be maintained. People are more important than trees. Thank you for your volunteering of your time, but it doesn't give you the right to tell the rest of the citizens in this town how they have to live. But I thank you for all your time on this matter, and I really do not want this to become an issue among all of us.
So I sincerely apologize for the Nazi comment.
Carol Winard, I'm on the tree board, chair, 141 Snyder Street. One of the, board members actually resigned after your comment.
I understand.
So it is a serious issue, and the idea of trying to recruit more people to put their time and efforts into these commissions when we have comments like that is completely inappropriate.
I understand. I apologize. But I also have to represent my neighbor who had the police called on her when she was cutting trees on her private property. You can't do that. It's stop, go take a walk. Don't pick up the phone and call the police. And when the police got there, what he actually said was, Dana Mulder called again. She bought the property on 3rd Street below her. She owns her property on the bluff. She owns everything up and down. She can do what she likes. I personally would not have wanted to cut those trees, but they belong to her. She can do it. So
There's a lot of accusations flying here tonight, Wendy.
and I was witnessed for that one.
I think that what
I
Dana
have-
does as a resident of Harbor Springs is different than what the tree board does. And I believe that the tree board has never told anyone what they can and cannot do on their private property. They do make suggestions. They give people lists of trees that are desirable, but they do not go to properties and say, you cannot cut this tree down, or you have to plant this tree here. So
I think it was more likely a case of Dana Mulder might have called asking, is it, is this on city property that these people are cutting down? I wouldn't call, that is not our policy. It's never been our policy. And I think that's where people have got it all wrong.
I think.
I also can provide a whole list of citations in the last, 6 years or however long I've been on, where we said, no, we don't want to be in the business, telling people what to do on private property.
I've been on the
And that's
tree
where
board
we-
for 6.5 years, and the tree board does have a lot of robust conversations and throw out a lot of ideas, but ultimately in the end, what it comes down to is what advice do they give to city council as a board? And I don't recall any advice given to the board or regarding private property, except to form some sort of bluff disability committee to examine voluntarily what can voluntarily be done to get trimming plan for the bluff, but nothing that was an ordinance. So yeah, there's a lot of conversations about, even our tree plan talks about, looking at clear cutting, because clear cutting has been a concern by residents, but the board ultimately did not recommend to the council to pass that legislation. So yeah, there's a lot of conversation. I've been there. There's been a lot of discussion and healthy discussion, and ultimately what matters is the advice that comes.
But what you're hearing from me is a reflection of other citizens in town. I've heard this endlessly. So
Well, let's just correct it right now.
right,
then.
let's work together to recognize personal property rights, and maybe the tree board needs a map of where personal property is and private property is. But thank you.
Yes, sir.
I would like to ask for clarity with Ms. Melfi's request or motion, thank you, to hold a joint meeting with the DDA, because I still think that the question that Ms.
That's okay. Just.
Kathy, there's still, in my mind, a disagreement about authority and the authority between and among the city council. And so another meeting, will that, what's the goal? What will be the next steps that we can expect?
Well, I assume Jim Aaron will tell us who has the authority, the final authority, right?
I will ask Jim to do some research for that.
I was gonna suggest that again. I think that's a good point.
And then I will also ask, was there truly due diligence on the quote? And understanding how many light lamp posts there are to be painted. Did we do a sample entirety of one? Do we understand the deterioration of the rust? I mean, that number just seems low to me. And we're talking about a lot of light posts, so I wouldn't want us to go down this pathway of whatever decision is made, being painted whatever color, and then not have it be able to be completed. That's a concern that I have as a citizen of this town. You want to start a project and finish it on time. And by the way, I've also, lots of construction projects over the years, delays happen. Delay is not a bad thing. So while you want to honor a contract that's been signed, there may at times need to be delays. So I just wanted to make that request, but I also would like feedback from our city council as to what is the objective of this next step? And what's the goal for bringing two groups together?
I think the DDA not want to meet with the council, and I don't know that that would be a productive meeting. But I do think that the DDA needs to work with the council and the planning commission going forward on all of their plans. And if Jim Raymer does the research and finds out that we do have more say, then I think that it needs to come to council.
So wouldn't that be the first item to do first, rather than?
Well, Gail said that they would like to meet as a DDA, not with council.
And the reason is just for to stop. We can't, Becky and I cannot stop the contract we have right now without a vote from the DDA. And that's all we want. That's the only thing you need to go. I mean, anyone can sit in on it, but that's what we need to go to the board for. So to stop it, or if they say continue, you know, they want to go through whatever. That's all right now. I mean, there's a lot more at play here. We know the master plan, we know all of that. But this is the immediacy right now before the painters are standing out there.
But what does a citizen sitting in my place, what should I expect to happen 1, 2, 3 steps forward?
Okay, so our first, and correct me if I'm wrong here, our first immediate need is to present in front of the DDA board the recommendation and the from the city council that we paint the light posts. I guess it's a glossy black. You know, they don't want.
We didn't say that.
See, that's why I'm asking this question, because I think there's not clarity here as next step.
I said to discuss the lamppost color and potentially getting out of the contract that you are currently in to spend more time getting feedback and making sure that you have a contract that is going to do this job properly, instead of saying we can do this job and if it doesn't work, we'll just do it again. That's my concern, is that I agree with Ty that this is a very low bid, and I don't know that it's going to be done properly for that amount of money. I also think that it has been proven that by installing green weekly lights on 3rd Street just last year, and now you're paying $1,000 to repaint them a different color, that there isn't a full plan as to what to do, and it is kind of piecemeal. And I think that all of these things need to be discussed before you spend money to install something and then change the color of it 1 year later. That is my personal concern. That's what I've heard from the people that showed up to speak tonight. And I think that it needs to be discussed.
And I might add to that. It would be good to know, with assistance from Jim, exactly what city council's relationship is or should be with the DDA. Do we have influence over the DDA? Can we ask for things like this? And even if the answer to that is you have no authority, can we come up with some sort of collaborative solution to this problem that makes everybody happy? I mean, we don't have to have an ordinance to make everyone happy. We can just agree.
I think those are a couple topics, and I think collaboration is key, but I think council, just to keep in mind, as we've seen from, you know, tree board too, I mean, we appoint these members to make these decisions, and sometimes it's hard on volunteers when they have that. So I think keep that in mind going into the conversation. You know, they put a lot of time in working this too, and so.
Absolutely. I'm not suggesting anyone wants to dictate anything to anyone. I think we have a conversation.
And I guess that's my biggest concern, is to make sure that there's an agreement I think regardless of even what the legal requirements are, as a community, I hope we can be working together on this. And I'm not, personally, I don't care what color. To be honest with you, I really don't. It's more a matter of let's work together on it.
I think we're ready for closed session.
Any other old or new business?
Yeah, we would need a motion from a council person to meet in a closed session under section 8A of the Open Meetings Act to consider periodic personnel evaluation of the city manager. City manager has requested a.
Come on.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
So as we said, so well we done, huh?
I got a motion and a second, quick roll call, Tom Graham.
Yes.
Jenny Reed, Bob Bruckner.
Yes.
Jamie Melky.
Yes.
Kathy Mine.
Yes.
Motion carried. at 10:17.
Right, unless there is any other business.